I'd like to take a moment to recognize the City of Fredericton sits on traditional Wolastoqey territory. The mighty river that runs right by us, the St. John River, is also known as Wolastoq, along which live the Wolastoqey people of the beautiful and bountiful river. This is an important event in the Chamber calendar for our members to keep informed about the challenges and the successes of the municipality and what we can expect in the coming year. The State of the City address will now be permanently in June, something both the City and the Chamber are very excited about. It's an opportunity to hear from Mayor Mike about the goals that he and Council, along with their team of City employees, have put in place for the rest of 2018. And we do have many members of the City Council and senior staff in attendance. We thank them for attending, along with other dignitaries.
As Deputy Premier and Regional Minister for Fredericton, I am proud of the many ways in which our government has taken initiatives and provided funding to benefit the City of Fredericton and, of course, its surrounding areas. Some of these projects would include $600,000 from the federal and provincial governments to Liberty Lane, Inc., a Fredericton-based organization that provides second-stage housing and family violence prevention for programs. And as a former police officer, I'm so happy and proud to see that taking place. A combined $3.9 million investment, as Matt said, from the municipal, provincial, and federal governments to repair the upgrade of the Bill Thorpe walking bridge. The installation of the solar panels on the roof of Fredericton High School, and by the way, it's the largest solar installation in all of the province. The opening of the midwife services demonstration site. Upgrades to 2 of our nursing homes here in our city. York Care Centre will receive $4.6 million in renovation funding over the next 5 years, while Pine Grove Nursing Home will receive $3.8 million. A combined $18 million investment from the provincial and federal governments to expand, and I'm so proud of this, the Fredericton International Airport. I am so very proud that our government was able to assist in negotiations that led to an agreement between the City of Fredericton and the University of New Brunswick on the Sir Max Aiken Pool. I'm also very proud of our government's effort in helping Fredericton to continue to develop as major cybersecurity research hub for all of North America.
It's my pleasure at this time to call upon our gold sponsor, Chip McRae, partner of Elliott McRae Hill, to say a few words on behalf of the firm. Let's hear it for Chip.
So small and medium-sized businesses are facing more and more obstacles to their success than ever before. And yet we see our own local businesses growing and succeeding very well here in Fredericton despite these obstacles. So there's many indicators around us here in Fredericton and in Brunswick that we're open for business and doing so successfully.
Hand in hand with his community involvement, Mike has also has a distinguished record of elected service. He's now in his 5th term and 17th year on City Council. As a committee chair, he oversaw the adoption of the city's visionary long-term fiscal plan and the adoption of the Lean Six Sigma Process Improvement Program. These 2 initiatives have positioned Fredericton as one of the most progressive and fiscally responsible communities in the country. In 2016, Council embarked on the multi-year monumental Imagine Fredericton process that engaged thousands of residents to share their hopes and dreams for the future. Today, Mayor Mike is going to present the resultant growth strategy and his and Council's vision for an even more sustainable, vibrant, and prosperous Fredericton. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my engineering colleague and the hard-working mayor of this great city, Mike O'Brien, PNG.
I've been dreaming about our city of the future, our own shining city upon a hill. What is that, you may ask? Well, it's first mentioned in the Good Book and once articulated by U.S. President Ronald Reagan. It is a tall, proud city built on rocks stronger than ocean currents, teeming with people of all kinds living in harmony and peace, a city that hums with commerce and creativity. One with doors wide open to anyone with the will and the heart to get there. To me, this describes a city of destiny, our destiny. My city is also increasingly multicultural, has a true and respectful partnership with St. Mary's First Nation, has an elevated social conscience, has a new community amenities serving not only the local fast-growing neighborhoods, but also the entire region. It is a sustainable city where population density allowed for these transformations to occur. The sustainability is not only economic, but also fiscal and environmental. This density allows city tax dollars to be spent ever more efficiently, allowing expenditures on amenities like enhanced transit, recycling at apartments, and perhaps a new seniors complex, and contributions to tackle social issues. But how, with a large portion of taxpayers always fiercely resistant to change, how can we ever get there? How can we successfully attract more newcomers, retain more young families, grow our economy to provide jobs, enhance our wonderful neighborhoods, and find spending efficiencies to support this growth? How? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to remind us that we already do have a way forward. It is the new growth strategy that arose from the comprehensive Imagine Fredericton process. As it is implemented, this growth strategy will chart our course to that bright and sustainable future. As shown on this slide, the process showed Fredericton is predicted to grow to 90,000 residents by 2040. 12,000 new jobs will be added to the various sectors. The Imagine Fredericton consultation process was the beginning of determining how and where residential and employment growth should be accommodated over the next generation. It was the most comprehensive in our history. How large was it? Well, there were 3,000 participants. 1,500 surveys were submitted. There were 192,000 social media interactions. The 85 days of formal public engagement. The vision that emerged during this extensive consultation process overwhelmingly agreed with the one that I had in my dream. The growth strategy that emerged from these efforts was adopted by Council. It promotes a more sustainable city over time, one with a more vibrant urban core, more viable options for moving around beside the automobile, and more complete walkable communities with a range of housing choices and amenities nearby. Let me explain. It costs buckets full of tax money to extend and maintain water and sewer and roads and streets and sidewalks and parks and trails to all corners of our city. To all corners, and to provide services such as transit and snow removal and garbage services and the like. It is simply not sustainable to keep growing that way. We must and can do better. Therefore, central to our growth strategy is a new growth boundary, which represents the maximum extent to which the city will extend municipal services for new developments over the next 25 years. This area is shown by the white area bordered by the dotted line on this map. This is called, let's call this the urban area of Fredericton. Yes, some limited growth will still occur outside the dotted line. Let's call that the rural area of Fredericton. But new policies will direct major growth within this defined boundary. Doing so creates the density of people, the density of services people want, and the walkable, connected local streets and trails that people want. It permits tax money to be focused on growing neighborhoods and amenities instead of simply adding more expensive asphalt and pipes and concrete, and then having to maintain it. Within this white growth boundary area, our strategy recognizes that established neighborhoods will change incrementally over time, but are not appropriate locations for new significant growth. Instead, almost all residential and employment growth will be focused on four new and growing areas. As shown colored and circled on this map, they are, on the south side, the Uptown Knowledge Park UNB Endowment Lands Corridor, the Bishop Hanwell High Point area, on the north side, the Brookside St. Mary's North area, and the north in northeast Fredericton. These new neighborhoods will contain a variety of housing types and will be planned to accommodate up to 24,000 of the anticipated 30,000 new residents. They will be located on main transit routes to accommodate higher density housing and new shops and services. The Knowledge Park UNB Endowment Lands Corridor alone is targeted for a new residential community of 5,000 to 6,000 people, with new neighborhoods designed for walking and cycling and well connected to existing and new amenities. Not shown is our commercial park areas, and the plan has a focus on that too. We have to grow our commercial industrial park areas. In the urban core, shown here in red and pink, which includes the downtown, the South Platte, and the main Union Street corridor, there is room for 8,000 additional residents. Yes, 8,000 new residents in this core. Again, empty lots will be infilled, higher density apartments will be created, apartments above retail will materialize, and businesses will follow to provide the services to these new residents. Many of these thousands of new residents will walk to work or get their groceries or to visit their doctors and dentists. Our downtown and Main Street businesses will flourish, and new ones will open to service this new clientele. Older homes in the South Core and Platte that have fallen into some disrepair will be purchased and returned to single-family homes. This growth will be fueled by new people and families coming here for work opportunities, by multicultural newcomers, by our own youth now more than ever being able to establish their careers here instead of elsewhere, and by hundreds of people that are relocating from outside areas to take advantage of the amenities our city offers. One major parcel of land absolutely must be developed in order for this vision to be a reality. It's the large parcel of city-owned land we know as the exhibition grounds. A century ago, these grounds were on the periphery of the city, a good walk from the nearest developing residential areas. That is no longer the case. Given the constrained boundaries of our downtown city center, and therefore its limited capacity for residential growth, achieving significant intensification in the South Core, a short walk away, will be critical to maximizing downtown vitality. Properly designed, close to 1,000 people could live in the exhibition land property. On tree-lined courts in higher density intergenerational housing and apartment units and unique affordable housing designs. That is 1/8 of the 8,000 that we wish to settle in the urban core. The large green open space there would be maintained as it is part of the city's Wellfield area. Now imagine, if you can, what if part of Saunders Street was closed off and a new large green park connecting Wilmot Park and this green space and then linking through to Odell Park. It is singularly one of the greenest future initiatives that we can undertake. As I mentioned, there's a voracious demand for downtown living. And developers are racing to provide the rental stock. Over the past 9 years, 520 new residential units have already been constructed in the South Core. It's going to continue, and if these lands are not developed, then older, once historic homes will be bought up, demolished, and new rental units will be built. It's easy to say to council, then don't let that happen. But at what cost? Developing this site could save many older historic homes from their demise and help combat more unwanted and unsustainable growth in our periphery. Ladies and gentlemen, times have changed, are changing, and rapidly. The exhibition has a proud history, and we look forward to working with their board as they define a new vision for their operations and to assist them in locating to a new home elsewhere in the city where they can flourish with renewed life and vigor. The Main and Union Street corridor is also primed for additional development. It is now transitioning away from the older farm-style residential and 1960s and 1970s commercial buildings that I fondly remember from my youth growing up in Nashwauk-Sis. It is becoming more modern, but it needs a spark, and our growing population is the necessary kindling. And as evidenced in recent years, it has begun. The growth strategy includes a new Main Street master plan. It lays the groundwork for how this valuable corridor can and will develop over the coming decades. This is a photo of the York Plaza at the corner of Main and Fulton, showing a concept of how it could transition over the next while. As for the final transition, who knows? However, the plan envisions a future streetscape looking like this. It will dictate that it has to be compatible for how we see a large tract of Main Street being developed. Ladies and gentlemen, this area of the city has a very bright future and boundless potential. The growth strategy also incorporates both the exciting city center plan and the Garrison district plan. Let's dig into both a bit. The city center plan calls for increased residential density, connected laneways and bike paths, great public spaces, and unique walkable spaces within our downtown. To the west is the major downtown gateway area we have dubbed the Victoria Circle neighborhood. Next year, the city will be installing the Victoria Circle roundabout at the large intersection of Smythe, Brunswick, and King Streets, Woodstock Road, and St. Anne Point Boulevard. Are you ready for it? This historic area is growing with wonderful opportunities for new and renovated buildings with residential, retail, and commercial. In the center core, we're going to be seeing new towers, at least by Fredericton's definition of a tower, going up at Westmoreland and King, at Regent and King, and at Carleton and Brunswick, which is now already in progress. As a result, perhaps 1,000 more workers will be in our downtown. A centerpiece of this zone will be the pedestrian and car shared Carleton Street. The concept that is now in place at the lower north end of Carleton will be expanded right up to Brunswick Street. This will be a natural centerpiece in the jewel of our downtown, or in our jewel of a downtown. It will also link our city to the future redeveloped St. Anne Point Boulevard. Here's a concept for this revitalization. I know, everybody's talking, we just had a flood. This is a concept, but this is worthy of debate. We have this beautiful space facing the Woolastook River, and there's a way, the engineers in this crowd can figure out a way, and the architects, to design these to be flood-proof, perhaps with ground-level parking. It's a big debate has to be had on this, but this is a concept, and I challenge everybody to think big. Plans are also being incubated with King's Place to potentially relocate the city transit hub to the rear of the Brunswick Street face. This will permit the owners to revitalize the complex with a more inviting facade and shop entrances along King. At the east end of the city will be our bustling Capital and Cathedral districts anchored by the world-class Beaverbrook Art Gallery and the new state-of-the-art Performing Arts Center and the Convention Center. It also includes the Charlotte Street Arts Center, the Boyce Market, the Christchurch Cathedral, and the Legislature. And last but not least is the Garrison district, running from City Hall on the west to Officer Square on the east. Tonight, 80-plus vendors, musicians, and acrobats will be at the official opening of our new Garrison Night Market on the aforementioned refurbished Carleton Street. This was envisioned, ladies and gentlemen, in our growth strategy and is one of the first components to come to life. The same level of confidence should apply to the plans for the revitalization of Officer Square. This is a topical item and has garnered much attention. I would like to take this opportunity to provide some context to the discussion. Officer Square is a pretty cool spot as is, but it has been loved to death and is in desperate need of revitalization. It's a National Historic Site, but it had been neglected. The city received ownership of the square from the province 2 years ago in order to begin the necessary revitalization efforts. Let me explain why we did that and what we're faced with. A few years ago, in an attempt to make this a 12-month-of-the-year great public space, we began working with the Downtown Business Network to provide a skating rink. Climate change limited us to just 12 days of skating last year. The square sat idle almost 5 months, a lost community health and wellness benefit, not to mention lost opportunities for tourism and economic development. The new plan envisions a refrigerated skating oval, really a rectangle as shown in here, around an even larger Great Lawn. Such facilities have become magnets for residents and tourists wherever they have been built. In fact, the heritage permit we received for the revitalization process mandates a skating rink. Speaking of the Great Lawn, the square is sloped to the Queen Street side. There is inadequate drainage, so if it rains during an event, the water pools there and the crowds tamp down and ruin the lawn. It surely is not acceptable for such a great public space and has to be addressed. The electrical systems are shorting out, are dangerous, and must be replaced. The existing performance stage has rotted, has been replaced, and is rotting again. The square is much lower than the adjoining streets, and the perimeter wall actually acts as a structural berm to hold back the sidewalks and roads. These walls are beyond useful life and have become a definite safety hazard and must be replaced with replica walls, but ones that are built to present-day code and safety standards. The walls will be replaced, even though the heritage permit does not require so. We will do so not only because they are structurally required, but they are also a key defining feature of the square. As mentioned, the replacement walls will be sturdier and more substantial in design, and as a result, the adjacent tree root system will be compromised, resulting in removal. Ladies and gentlemen, Fredericton has a 63% tree canopy and many great parks and green spaces. It's like a garden. Our staff will plant 600 street and park trees during this summer and have planted more than 3,000 trees in the past decade. We take our urban trees and forests to heart. However, many trees in Officer Square, and definitely those along the perimeter wall, will have to be removed. But for any one removed, 2 will be planted. and as mature and tall a tree as we can. The south wall along Queen Street is in the same desperate shape. A part of it collapsed in 2016. It too must be replaced for the same reasons. Many residents are understandably passionate and concerned about the future of this square. So please wish us all well as we dialogue together to bring the design for this space along to the eventual final approved concept. Do you notice the walkway connecting the square to the library and then onto Carleton Street zone? We've named this Scholars Walk. There will be unique night lighting, benches and places for buskers to entertain. There will be a small plaza area by the library for tables and chairs, and envision a summertime bistro operation. Now cross over to Carleton Street and enter Barrack Square with its new entertainment stage and the display area for the students of the College in Craft Design to display and sell their wares. Continue through to the present-day Justice Building. I'm not sure what will be there once the provincial courts move out in 2021. That's the target date, but rest assured, many eyes are on that space, and it will inevitably be renovated into something complementary to the overall Garrison district. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how my dream of a future city will become a reality. Council's dream of the future city. And it isn't a dream at all. It's real life because thousands of residents, businesses, interest groups, and stakeholders work with our staff and consulting teams to create a plan. There will be some resistance, there already is. But we have to be bold. Fredericton is no longer in competition with other cities in New Brunswick. We are competing with the best and most progressive cities in North America and the world. How can we continue to respect our past but still differentiate ourselves to attract and retain people, newcomers, businesses, talent, and investment? I say that we're already on our way. Fredericton, in partnership with St. Mary's First Nation, was just selected as a top 20 finalist in the federal government's Smart City Challenge out of 195 municipal applications. That's exciting news. Fredericton has settled the highest percentage of immigrant newcomers within New Brunswick. That's exciting news. Our economic development agency, Ignite Fredericton, has been working seamlessly with the Chamber of Commerce and Opportunities New Brunswick and UNB to create more than 400 jobs through the creation of 150 new startups over the past 5 years. Fredericton is now poised to be a major Canadian and North American player in the cybersecurity field, with potentially thousands of jobs being created over the next decade. Our airport is expanding. Exciting news again, it brings the world to our doorstep. Our downtown has more business opportunities than current space permits. The value of construction and renovation building permits are well above our year-to-date numbers for 2017 and will easily exceed the magical $100 million threshold once thought unreachable. Very soon, Council will present our public drafts of our new transit and parking plans to position us for the future. And Council will soon embark on planning for a new aquatics and fieldhouse complex design. Ladies and gentlemen, this exciting news is due to people working together, people planning together, and people chasing dreams together. And your City Council has a plan, one that brings all these exciting components together. But we're going to need your support to work through and stay true to the plan, to allay the concerns and fears that some may have, to remain positive and inspiring, and as the saying goes, to go high when others may go low, to chart our course to the future that we deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, I love my job and I love this city. I know we all do. We are blessed and have so much to be grateful for. Just step outside on a day like today and just soak it all in. Collectively, we punch above our weight class on just about everything we do. But I know that working together, we can do better and successfully compete into the future to be the best small city in the world, the shining city upon the hill. Be proud of your city, be compassionate to those in need, and as always, vive la Fredericton. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.